Welcome to Ask Tumbleweed, where we strive to dig into the history of America's Old West for perspectives on today's issues. Today's question comes from GD in Tulsa, Oklahoma. GD asks, Tumbleweed, what won the West? Should that be important to us today? Well, what a question. Was it a Colt 45? A Winchester? How about a shotgun? Despite what the old time novels would have folks believe, guns, they had a role, but they didn't win the West. Yeah, they were important, sure enough. But guns didn't run ranches, operate banks, run post offices, or publish newspapers. No, wherever commerce flourished in the Old West, you would sure as shooting find families. Families build nations. Even before the first European immigrants, families formed the bedrock of America. From wickiups and teepees to log cabins and sprawling suburbs, families spawned America. While surveyors, trappers, miners, railroaders, and the like blazed trails from the Atlantic to the Pacific, the force that truly established our nation, it's always been the family. Shucks, I trace my own ancestry from 5 brothers immigrating from Ireland to Texas between 1845 and 1867 to find them having spawned more than 2,600 family members spanning 9 generations. 9. That's a lot of family. Apparently, in today's America, what won the West might not seem so important anymore, so the family has had to endure ever-increasing assault by socio-political forces. Per the U.S. Census Bureau, in the 7 decades since 1950, 2-parent families with children under age 18 dropped from 92% to 70% of the total families with children. Wow. Where are America's nuclear families going? How have we reached such a sorry state? Why? Anti-family agendas have pretty much infiltrated academia, social media, news media, public education, medicine, government, religion, and corporations. Lest we forget, greed, avarice, and pure selfishness dictate against family, and they were around in the Old West too. But technology has created modern social contagions such as gender dysphoria. Pornography creates sexual dysfunction that discourages family structure. The LGBTQ community, with rare exception, speaks for itself as to reduced family size. Debt is a population killer, as debt-burdened folks are fearful of being able to support large families. Divorce, that tears our families apart. We exist in an ever more divided, ever more decadent world. All manner of immoral agendas are being thrown at us aimed at destroying families and thereby our nation. Tough to overcome. The attack on family is part of a larger agenda for sure, and it's likely going to get worse if we don't turn it around. The enemy is filled with hate, and they're not going to listen to reason. We seem to have lost connection with the role of families 150 years ago, such as won the West. The nuclear family, based on natural law and Judeo-Christian values, it stands as a huge obstacle to those who might tear the families asunder, for whatever reason. While good things can be born from struggles, it's a tall order to overcome what might be termed a mass psychosis, kind of bent on destroying religion and morality. Folks who cluelessly put their children through public school and college brainwashing, ignore the secularization of churches, succumb to social media community standards, believe the liberal biased news media and accept a non-exceptional America, and the like, they probably won't care for the answer to stopping the destruction of families. Far too many have been scheduled to avoid conflict, avoid win-lose, avoid discomfort, and submit unquestioningly to authority. Gotta wonder how they might have fared in Montana, Kansas, or Texas back in the 1850s. In any case, we absolutely must reclaim America's moral compass before we can ever hope to rein in the threats that surround us. That includes finding Bible-based churches that follow God's teachings. Mothers and fathers must gain the respect essential to strong families. We all must act strongly against the forces that are fomenting anarchy and are silencing the voices striving to revive family and American exceptionalism. It doesn't take villages, it takes families to win America's culture war. Obviously, Tumbleweed doesn't mind tackling a potentially thorny issue. So you're encouraged to submit your questions to asktumbleweed@gmail.com. Y'all might enjoy my Tumbleweed Sagas novels, in which protagonist Texas Ranger Luke Dunn must often deal with the cultural issues and prejudices of the mid-1850s while delivering justice. I've woven some morally principled messages through the pages of my 5 sagas to date, as published by Defiance Press and Publishing. They're available online in print, e-audio, and ebook from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other popular online booksellers. So do buy your copies of Noasis Justice, Noasis Reprise, Noasis Deceit, Noasis Blood, and Noasis Grit today. Visit my posts on Facebook at Tumbleweed Sagas and at Ask Tumbleweed, and do check out my website at tumbleweed.me. If you'd like to learn more of the Old West and its life in it, I invite you to buy Nicholas Dunn, The Making of a Texas Legend. Meanwhile, you all do take care.